Hey there, makeup aficionados. I'm Ali Kona Bradford, and tonight I'm rocking out a Lucy Liu look here on my friend Eva, because I feel like us Asian girls, we've all had that issue where we can't find our crease or figure out how to contour it, so tonight I'm going to help you do that. For those of you guys who are not Asian, don't worry, you'll still learn something because it's a smoky look, so anybody can learn some blending tricks here. I've already concealed her eyes, so we're going to start with some eyeshadow base and then get into color. So I'm using a synthetic brush. Always I use a synthetic brush when I get started because it moves around the wet product real nice. Go ahead and close your eyes. Alright, so starting from the lash line and working my way all the way up to the top. And this is actually a pretty easy look. You'll just have to really focus on the blending. Once you master the art of blending, it's cake. Alright, so I've got my eyeshadow base on, and I'm going to start with a highlight color first. We're going with something flat and matte because this look doesn't require any shimmer underneath the brow. And then I'm going to press the color on. I'm using a brush that is called 239. It's a white bristle brush, and it holds a lot of color. So that way I don't have to dip back and forth into my product too much. I'm keeping the white just underneath the brow because if we take it all the way down to the lid, it's going to mute out our brown. And we don't want that. We want our color to be nice and rich. So I'm going to do a little bit of tape right under Eva's eye. You've seen me do this before. It's just a really quick way to have a guideline so that way my color doesn't end up all over the place. So I'm going to go in circles and then I'm going to kind of windshield wiper it back and forth. I'm using a brown this time as my buffing shade. You'll hear me use that word a lot. That's just my medium tone, so that way my dark colors blend real nicely into the highlight. And I'm going in circles with a fluffy bristle brush. So I'm going between a tapping motion and then also a wisping motion to blend out the color. The tapping just places the color very precisely, and then the wisping blends it out. So we were talking about trying to find the crease for us Asian girls. The best way to do that is going to be with an open eye. So Eva's going to open her eyes. Alright, so now I can see exactly where her fold is, so I know where to put the color. And I've said it a few times before in my other videos, dark pushes back and light pulls forward. So the dark is what's going to create that crease in her eye. Alright, so going right to her brow, almost at an angle. And again, still just wisping the color out, going in circles, not adding to. So you can already see a little bit of the shape. Now I'm going to grab some more color. This shadow in particular is called a pressed pigment, so it's got a lot of shimmer to it. You can go with a flat color if you like too. I just like the way this one blends out and the color changes a little bit as I'm blending. So it makes it a bit more versatile. So now I'm going to tap just to build it a little bit more on this outside corner. I'm starting on this outer crease. Gently just pressing it. I always work from the outside in, so that way majority of my color is deposited on the outside, and it'll lightly blend as I go in because there's less color on my brush when I do that. Going in circles, starting with my fluffy brush, and then as I intensify the color, I'll go in with a thicker bristle brush because it pulls more color. And I'm just finding and creating her crease right above the fold. And it's all a matter of just being patient and slowly adding more color on. If you just pile a lot of color on all at once, it's a lot harder to blend out. So you just have to go one step at a time. Have you close your eyes, please? Perfect. Now on the inner part of her eye, we're going to do something more gold. You always want to do your gold last, especially if you're working with a dark color that's similar to black, because it's going to mix in with the black and it's going to turn green. So we avoid all that by doing our outer part first. I'm going in between. You can see my strokes are changing from wiggling back and forth to pressing the color. And then this is called stippling. This allows the color to go by itself as well. So now I can see where her fold is. And that's the thing too, when you open your eye, a lot of times the color will disappear, so that's why we go ahead and open the eye so we can go a little bit higher, because we normally wouldn't think to put this dark color as high as it's gonna go. And again, going back and stippling it into my lighter, kind of shimmery brown, golden brown. Also too, I feel like a lot of girls don't take in the color as much as they should because they're afraid to create a funny shape with the eyeshadow. It's actually okay, that's why we did it with the brown, and we'll go back and put more brown in there. Because if you keep the dark color just on the outside, it's going to give the illusion of the eyes being further apart. That's not what we want. So now I'm going to blend it out with a fluffier brush. Asian eye, it tends to be pretty flat all the way across. Right in here, for the most part, for most of us, it does come out forward a little bit. So again, making sure we put that dark color right where it pushes outward, so that way we get the illusion of pushing it back. And then softly kind of windshield wipering it towards the inside. Now I'm going to go in with that brown I was talking about earlier. Kind of do what I like to call a touch-up. Going in circles. Okay. So going back again, layering some more of the dark color just on the outer crease. Again, adding more depth to my makeup. But again, this is more of a rounded look versus a triangular look. So I'm starting with my light brown first. My sparkle. I'm going underneath, but you'll notice I'm leaving a little bit of a gap with that white. That's where my darker color is going to go, because I don't want to wash out the dark color and make it less rich because of the brown. So that's why we leave that gap there. So at this point, I just want to smooth this out. This is where the fold was. And I do that by just gently tapping the color in. Because we don't want it to be really pretty with the eyes closed. And then, I'm going to go on the interior with the gold. But first, I'm going to touch up the eyeshadow base so that way it's nice and wet. Close your eyes. So that way, my dry product will stick to it extra nice. So this color is called Retrospeck, and I'm going to blend it out with another color because it has a lot of texture to it. It's very chunky because of the glitter in it. Sometimes with those chunks, it's hard to get a smooth blend to it. So we'll press it in, and then I'll mix in a little bit of a pigment with it, so that way it stays smooth. I'm still using my thick bristle brush. I haven't even gotten into anything fluffy just yet. And this is the tricky part, getting the two colors to blend in. Delicately. Again, I don't want to mix it too much and have it turn green on me. Okay, look straight ahead. That way I know where the color's going. And then by concentrating a lot of this color close to the bridge of her nose, it's also going to pull her eyes closer together. So I'm going to go back into her crease again with my brown and tap it over the edge of where the gold meets the brown. So that way the gold isn't quite as bright. Look straight ahead. Alright. So going inside here, softening this one up a little bit. And just wiggling it. Alright. So it's looking really nice. I'm going to take off my tape here pretty soon, and then when I do, I can go back and clean up under her eyes, so that way it's... So now that I've used my makeup remover, I'm going to go with a clean brush to blend because you know me, I like clean brushes for blending. So just going around the rim, diffusing it out, going around here, same thing. Here and there I'll alter things though, so that way it just accommodates the face that I'm working on. So don't feel like you have to have your makeup looking exactly precise like a picture. And then we'll go over it with some liquid liner as well too. So on the outer part, I'm using a black pigment. Pigments are the purest form of color, so they're very intense. You really don't need a whole lot of color for it to show up. Go ahead and close your eyes, please. Perfect. So I'm using an angle brush, starting on the outside and pulling it in. And I can make it quite thick on the outside, but I do have to be careful on the inner part because I don't want the line to be too thick and overpower to where you don't see the gold on the inside anymore. And majority of this, honestly, it probably won't show just yet. And that's okay, because we can always go back. I'd rather start skinny and build up the line and make it thicker than have something too thick, and then I'm just out of luck, because it's thick and I can't make it go away. Go and open your eyes. There we go. So it's got a nice thin line to it, and the idea is when I put the false lash on, we want to have some liner there, so I'm perfectly okay with the thickness right now. I'm going to switch up my brush and go for something a little bit more rounded. I feel like it doesn't tug at the eye quite as much when you do a rounded brush. You get a little bit more precision. Can you your eye open? Perfect. I don't want to emphasize her eyeliner too much, but I definitely want it to be there. And just like with anybody else, I have her keep her eye open, but especially with us Asian girls, because of the fold, you don't want to do the eyeliner with the eyes closed, because you'll do a really pretty straight line, and then when you open your eye, it turns into a jagged line. Now I'm going underneath. And for the most part, you can afford to do thicker lines on the bottom with an almond-shaped eye as well. And I'm connecting my outer angle to my inner. Go ahead and look up at the ceiling. So remember how I said this stuff is multi-purposeful? We're gonna go ahead and put it in her waterline. So it saves me the extra step of using a pencil and penciling in the inside of her waterline. I can just do it with one product. So this kind of adds to the smokiness look, if you will. And then I'm thickening up just, again, on that outer corner versus the inside. One straight across. I'm gonna have you look down and out towards the outside. And this is so I can reach right inside her eye and do the eyeliner here. I'm also going to be able to get into her waterline as well. So I'll lift gently and then place some eyeliner in here. And what this does is it thickens up the lash line. A little bit heavier under Eva's eyes. It's probably a little bit darker than the makeup that you're seeing in the picture, but it's still really nice. Go ahead and diffuse it out. A lot of times we have very straight eyelashes. You either get lucky, you get the nice curl, or you get the ones that just go straight down. In that instance, you have to use a lash curler. Go ahead and look down, please. So I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna wiggle up. A trick you can do with your lash curler, you can actually heat it up with your blow dryer and it'll hold the curl a little bit longer, just like curling your hair in your head. Same thing, you just have to be careful, make sure you don't get that iron too hot. I'm gonna go in with a pencil, a light brown pencil. As much as Lucy has black hair, you'll notice her brows are always brown. And for me, I feel like that just gives a softer look to the face. If you go in with a black, either powder or pencil, a lot of times it just looks really, really dramatic and harsh. Even for my darker skin girls, I still always use a brown. So delicate, you can get a good 10 uses out of your lash. Or at least I do. Okay, so we wave it around, we get it a little bit tacky. I'm gonna have you look down at the ground. This stretches her lids for me. Starting with the outside, sticking it on, making sure it's secure, and then going to So these are nice and wispy. I'll go back once the glue dries and I'll add a little bit more mascara. But right now what I'm gonna do is the other side, so that way you get a little bit of a review, but it's gonna be quicker so you don't have to sit through all my talking, but get to see the whole complete picture. So I'm gonna hop to the other side and fast. Okay, so we just finished Eva's makeup. The things that you didn't catch that I need to explain, I added a little bit of a highlight with a shimmer, and then also I didn't put any powder on her face because Lucy Liu has a very dewy look to her skin, and because Eva's not oily, we can afford to not put any powder on her, and it looks great. So hopefully you guys learned some new tips and tricks on how to achieve a nice smoky eye and contoured crease for an Asian girl. I'm gonna have you look down at the ground really quick so that way everybody can see the highlight. And then go ahead and look forward. So you can catch a new video every Thursday night at 8 p.m. on my channel. I'm Ali Kona Bradford. You can also tweet me with any questions or suggestions at KissMyPassport or find me on Tumblr under Ali Kona Bradford. Thank you so much and have a great night. Bye.